If you like good beer, I'll give you 600 reasons why you need to be in here. For great food, too. It is the Coons Market McKnight Road Cafe, Wilson McGinley, Frank Fuhrer, over 600 varieties of your favorite beers. We have shown you many of them through the months and the years that we have been here. And also, we want to remind you to come on out and sit down. HD TV, Steelers game on right now, and you can watch all sorts of good football and enjoy something great to eat. They have incredible food here as well. But you're probably wondering why I'm wearing the Steelers hoodie today. Yeah, I want to support the team, but the real reason is you never know when you're going to get something nice and cold and delicious. So you want to be wrapped up and warm as you enjoy a cold beer. I could stand in front of these coolers all day because I love what they do. All right, Greg, Diolis is here. We're going to talk football, all the time, because these are the games that count. The Steelers, Bengals, Ravens, Browns, trying to finish off the AFC North. And we both agree if they can get by the Bengals, in which they're favored by 3, underway now at Paul Brown Stadium, there's a very good chance they could be on their way to a division title.
Yeah, a very high likelihood that the Steelers finish this thing off in a format where they're going to win the division. It likely all comes down to next week on the Christmas Day game, which should be nice, national TV game and all the rest. So it will be an exciting end to the season, as most Steelers seasons end. You know, we've been really fortunate to be in Pittsburgh during the run of the Pittsburgh Steelers. There are a lot of cities in which you very rarely get to a playoff type of season, and almost our entire lives we've been watching the Steelers play at least into the end of the regular season with a chance to get to the playoffs.
When you think about the Steelers, the 2016 version, it has been Le'Veon Bell. Can he duplicate this, do you think? Or is he going to be a one-hit wonder? Not to say that he won't have consistent years, but to have something like this. You realize what he did last week, meaning multiple touchdowns, running, receiving, and the amount of yardage. There's only been one other player to do that. Jim Brown of Syracuse and the Cleveland Browns. That's great company to be in. What's the future for this?
Well, the future is probably next year playing for the transition tag at running back, because the Steelers are going to be still a little bit hesitant to give him a long-term contract. So his contract expires. They have a right to restrict him for a season before he can go anywhere. So he's going to have a one-year deal playing for about $8 million. Not bad if you can get it, but it's not the $20 or $30 million guaranteed type contracts. But running back contracts are not the highest in the National Football League. The highest contracts go to quarterbacks, left tackles, defensive linemen. So he'll be able to cash in very well and be healthy. But I think the Steelers wait one more year before they can make sure that this is a guy they want to really go out and invest in.
Kevin Butler, the defensive coach, has said that his defensive players are growing into their NFL uniforms. Would you agree that they're getting better, these young, talented football players?
I would. The 2 defensive backs that were draft picks this year, Scott from Maryland and 25, the player from Miami, who Artie Burns, who have really come to the point where they are playing very well. And on the opposite side, Ross Cockle has really started to play some pretty good cornerback for the Steelers. That's a side of the football that was a designated definite weakness going into this football season, and now has become somewhat of a strength. Their defensive backfield has really started to play very well.
Marvin Lewis, we've been saying this, I don't know how many times over the last dozen years. Is he playing for his future? Listen, he has made Cincinnati Bengal football relevant, and once again, you're only as good as your last show. How much trouble do you think he is really in?
We say every year he's in a lot of trouble, but I think finally it's going to be a situation where they're going to have to sit down and evaluate that one on Black Monday and determine whether they want to go a different direction with this football team. That could well be the case finally, that they say, Marvin, it's time for you to, take another job within the organization. They love him there. It's just whether or not he's able to get that team over the hump. And he's gotten them to the playoffs, but never can win a playoff game. It's very tough. A lot of people criticize Dalton as being a quarterback who's not necessarily a guy that you can use to get to that next level. So I think this could be the year that Marvin gets forced to step aside.
I think A.J. Green made Dalton better than what he really seemed to be as far as numbers. But what makes you a great pro quarterback is consistency. And I don't see that in him. And I think that's one of the reasons why the Bengals are such a seesaw type of team. And I think if they could maybe find a quarterback, Marvin Lewis could keep his home in Cincinnati for many years to come. I think, as in every sport, manager, coach, when things are going well, they get no credit, and when things are going bad, everybody points a finger.
Rob, what we don't realize as Steelers fans is how close the Bengals were to winning that game last year in the playoffs and then going to the next level, and who knows where you go from there. I mean, that game was salted away. If Burfict doesn't hit Brown with the late hit in the head, that game's over. And we don't get the chance. And then Jeremy Hill fumbles and keeps the Steelers alive. That's a whole different scenario if the Bengals win that game, and Marvin's certainly not in trouble. If you go another level in the playoffs last year, then you miss the playoffs 1 year, that's not that big of a deal.
They win the game today?
Steelers going away. Yeah, Cincinnati doesn't have anything to play for.
Flacco taking on Philadelphia. He has made statements in recent weeks. They go heads up next week. That's going to be a shootout.
Yeah, unless they're looking forward to the Steelers, which would be the only reason why they don't perform well and knock off Philadelphia, who has, those wheels have somewhat fallen off. I mean, Wentz is going to be a good quarterback, but he's got a lot of learning to do. He came out like a house afire, and now he's kind of backpedaled a little bit. He'll get better as it goes through, but right now the Eagles are pretty much done for the season.
Everything that you see in the National Football League in the way of quarterbacks, flash of the pan, year or two, great consistency, everything, and Carson Wentz being another one. What it makes me realize is how great Ben Roethlisberger has been since Tommy Maddox said, "I don't think I can play today, Coach." I mean, that's, I think, a sign of a true Hall of Famer. Forget about the Lombardi trophies. Even, and I've said this about Phillip Rivers, even though he doesn't have the hardware, meaning the trophy, that is what I look at. Eli Manning, guys who have done it, Drew Brees, over a long time, week in and week out. Danny Marino did it. To me, that's why I appreciate Ben Roethlisberger more than anything.
Yeah, how fortunate are we as Steelers fans to not have to go through those growing pains? I mean, look at Jared Goff in St. Louis, now in Los Angeles. How poor he looked the other night in that game where he had an open receiver in the end zone by 15 yards. The guy had everybody blew coverages, and he couldn't hit him in with a little 15-yard pass. There's a lot of quarterbacks that get drafted high that don't come to fulfill the promise that you think is going to be there. We've been really lucky here in Pittsburgh.
Now listen, Greg Dallas Law, of course, Law and Vantage Management Group. Even though we're leaving today, you don't need us to be here because, as always, we'll leave a light on for you, a Bud Light. Always be responsible. Uber, Zipcar, formerly Yellow Cab of Pittsburgh. Have yourselves a great day. Go Steelers. We'll see you tomorrow night on Rob Pratte Monday night. We start with the Allegheny Health Network program Medical Frontiers at 7 with Dr. Gerald Pfeiffer on News Radio 1020 KDKA. Cheers.